Well, this Ashes series isn't officially over, but because England right now have no chance of winning it, that is sent the entire world, or at least on this side of the world, into pandemonium. I've had to bring in two guys today to try and help me make some sense of one specific topic. Mark Butcher, Andrew Miller here, two very big minds in the world of cricket. So let's get to it, because the number one thing a lot of people are talking about is the captaincy. Joe Root. Some have said that after this, it's clear that his game is being affected, in the wrong way, really and truly, so he should reconsider his position. But Joe Root himself says he's definitely still the right man to lead this England team. Gentlemen, where do you stand on this one? Mark, let's start with you.
Look, I think that the captaincy does not sit easily with Joe. I don't think he's naturally gifted as a leader, either tactically or in terms of just the way that he holds himself out there on the park, which is not to say I think he's a bad captain. I do think that, though, that trying to bat at number 3, whether they were his wishes or the wishes of the media, of the selectors, of his coaching staff, whoever, and captain the team is just too much. And that if you're asking somebody who uses up a lot of his bandwidth as just to captain the side, you're asking him also to take on a position that he doesn't necessarily enjoy batting in over number 4. You are asking for trouble. And the trouble that we've got is that England obviously have lost the series, and that also Joe hasn't scored any runs. His record as captain as a run scorer just keeps going down and down and down. So there aren't obvious options to take over from him, really. That's one of the main issues. But I think his worth to the team is as a run scorer and being our best player. And so if they could come up with an idea as to who should captain the side instead of him, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest if he was no longer leading the side. But perhaps that's a conundrum for another hit.
Wow, he's already pre-planning our hits here. Miller, I'm just going to let you chime in there on this one. Just what do you think, and if you do agree with Butch, where in this Ashes series did you see Joe Root falling short, I guess, apart from making runs?
Well, I thought tactical naivety. I thought his use of Jofra Archer in particular was terrible, to be perfectly honest. Here was England's brand new weapon, capable of bowling up at 96 miles an hour, and he gets bowled for 44 overs in his first international, 31 the next. Then his pace is way down in his third match. I mean, it's hardly surprising, really, isn't it? Look at the way that Australia have been operating. Obviously, they've got a huge resource with so many quicks to rotate, but they've been very careful about how they allocate their resources. Mitchell Starc didn't appear till the 4th test. You got James Pattinson sitting on the sidelines. All these guys are being really carefully managed. And I think the use of Jofra Archer, the misuse of Jofra Archer, is the sort of thing that is going to bite England really badly if in a few years' time he's not that 90-mile-an-hour bowler. He's an 80, 85-mile-an-hour bowler who is still good but not incredible.
Butch, I just want to stick a pin on that one, because that's something that we have spoken about too, just from the first 2 tests, just how he would manage Jofra Archer on this one. You clearly agree with Miller on that one as well. Was that the biggest nail in the coffin for you for Joe Root, along with the fact that he wasn't scoring many runs?
No, not really. I mean, there are lots of smaller things that you could point to on the field. I think that, Steve Smith had got under England's skin to such an extent that with the floodlights on, green pitch, all of the conditions in the fielding side's favour, at Lords, England was still bowling with leg slips, 4 or 5 men on the leg side, run up and hit the top of off stump. 6.5 metres, I think, is the distance from the stump. Bring the batsman forward and try to hit the top of off stump. I don't care how good you are, in conditions such as those, you keep things simple. England were too quick, I think, and then it continued through the series, too quick to kind of go to plan B, C, D and E against Steve Smith, particularly when they had conditions in their favour. So that's one thing. I do think the whole team, in terms of their roles, where people are batting, the roles they're being asked to perform, are just massively out of whack. Nobody is doing the job that they're supposed to be doing, with the exception perhaps of Rory Burns, and he's been successful.
He has indeed. Well, of course, there's the other side of the coin, and some, former England players have come out as well, and they said, look, the whole thing of when you become captain, your numbers do dip a little, happens to every captain.
Well, it doesn't.
And that, I don't know,
Doesn't.
You're not buying that, but
well, no, I mean, Steve Smith and Virat Kohli's numbers have gone in the opposite direction.
But there are those cricketers now.
Well, he was part of the big 4 until recently.
Yeah.
He's officially been relegated from that because his numbers don't stack up anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Is it just really down to you for the weight of the captaincy then, you think?
It's partly who replaces him as well, because he does have that one advantage of being a first name on the team sheet. The rest of the side, Ben Stokes accepted, and of course Ben Stokes being an all-rounder, you don't really want to burden him with the captaincy. Except for him, the only other guy I would say in this side who's remotely capable is Rory Burns, but he's so early in his Test career. I mean, when I say remotely capable, we're talking about a guy who's won the championship. He's a guy who's got first-class experience. He's a guy who, as a batsman, winning the championship, was not only facing far more deliveries than anyone else, but scoring far more.
Throw him in the fire early.
I don't see it as a bad option.
Andrew.
Go on, Rory
Rory
Burns for captain, because England do need to start afresh with this Test team. They've got to find ways to obviously compartmentalise the white ball guys, the likes of Joss Buttler, Johnny Bairstow, Stokes to a degree, who are brilliant, have won the World Cup, hurrah. But then suddenly we've got this situation where, Joe Denley, is he really the right man to be picking is he number 4, is he an opening batsman, what is he? No one knows, because England haven't focused enough on first-class cricket, on Test cricket, in all the time it's taken to win this World Cup. So they've got to start again. It's a new cycle now, got a new coach coming in at the end of the year. It's a different kettle of fish, and with that in mind, Test cricket does remain the pinnacle, as we've seen, because there's so much excitement about this Ashes series. England needs to start focusing on Test cricket again.
Indeed. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your opinions, as always. So, of course, in the white ball cricket, it's all good for England, but in red ball, some changes clearly need to be made according to these two, and you might want to start looking at the captaincy.